Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, well, it's to unpack a really detailed study outline. Think of it like a spiritual blueprint for action.
Right, and we want to get into not just what it says, but kind of why the author put it together this way.
Exactly. We're diving into something called the practical prioritization of the end-time harvest.
Hmm.
It looks at basically a three-part mandate for fulfilling the Great Commission right now in this generation.
Yeah, and this source material, it's incredibly disciplined. It's not just fluff or, motivation. It's more like an operating manual.
An operating manual, I like that.
And it builds around these three escalating demands. First, the explicit command to actually go.
Okay.
Then, the need for what it calls entire consecration. Okay. And finally, the demand for earnest commitment. But maybe before we dig into those pillars, we should probably frame the context a bit.
Good idea.
Like, what does this document mean by end-time harvest?
Right.
So in this text, it's really framed as the specific population whose eternal state needs immediate attention, like right now.
So urgency is key.
Huge emphasis on urgency. It positions this current moment as pretty much the only time to act.
Okay, that urgency is a great place to start then. The document kicks right off, setting that tone, citing, while it is day. Basically, the time frame Christ set for action.
Mm-hmm.
And the interpretation here seems crucial. This specific period is the only window believers have to actively do his work, to be lights of the world.
And what's really interesting is how the source ties that command that go directly to personal transformation.
How so?
Well, it links it to being set apart and made holy, sanctification. The source points out that the command was the same before the cross and after the resurrection. Things like, as thou hast sent me, even so have I also sent them. It's saying the church today is explicitly sent to the world today.
That definitely shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It's not some vague historical thing.
Not at all.
So then the document brings up this paradox you often hear about from Matthew. The harvest is plenteous, loads of it, but the laborers are few. But is the document saying it's a crisis of, not enough people signing up? Or is it more about the commitment of the people already there?
I think the author is strongly suggesting it's the second one, the commitment issue.
Okay.
The insight seems to be that Christ isn't just looking at people's physical needs, how we see the world, but at their eternal state after death.
Wow.
And that's what makes the harvest plenteous, huge, no matter what things look like on the surface.
So if the harvest is massive, why are the laborers scarce?
Well, the outline really implies the shortage isn't because people aren't trained or don't know what to do.
It's something else.
It seems to be a lack of personal willingness to be the answer, to the very prayer they're told to pray.
Ah, that's a twist. So you pray for the Lord to send laborers.
Right, you're commanded to pray that.
But you have to pray it being ready to say, okay, send me.
That's the implication. You have to be willing to be that laborer you're praying for.
Okay, so if the command is about making go central to your life, well, the scope of that go is huge then.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just, your neighbors or your town. It's all nations.
All nations.
Which means structurally, the church needs to actively learn about the nations that have not been reached. It's an information requirement too.
So the command defines the mission, the scope.
Yep.
But then the source pivots hard to the how. And it seems like this how needs way more than just agreeing with the idea.
Oh, absolutely. It's setting up the condition needed to fix that labor shortage problem we just talked about.
Which brings us to the second big pillar.
Exactly. Entire consecration. If the command is the mission brief, this next part is about, the resources needed, the personal investment.
Entire consecration. The text is clear. This isn't like partial or just for a little while.
No.
It demands everything. Soul, mind, spirit, talents, skills, money, resources.
Yeah.
The whole package.
The whole deal. And the motivation it gives is fascinating. It frames it as reciprocity based on Corinthians. The love of Christ compels believers.
Constrains them.
Right? Constrains them not to live for themselves anymore, but for him which died for them and rose again. It's a response to what's been done for you.
Okay, but that raises a practical question, doesn't it? What kind of resources are okay to give to this work?
Yeah, and the outline is really specific here. It warns against consecrating, quote, corrupt gains unto the Lord.
Corrupt gains. So like dirty money.
Well, maybe not just illegally gotten money, though probably that too. It could also mean, any resource or effort given grudgingly. Or maybe resources that aren't really prioritized in your life or budget, like leftovers. The source implies that makes the offering somehow impure.
So you have to give what he's actually asked for, and it has to be, well, clean in terms of your commitment.
That seems to be the idea. It has to be given willingly and be prioritized.
And this level of commitment, this purity, it connects to being in Christ,
Yeah.
right? Becoming new creatures.
Exactly. And that transformation then gives believers this ministry of reconciliation. It basically turns them into ambassadors for Christ.
Ambassadors.
Yeah, okay.
And an ambassador doesn't just, like, represent their kingdom halfway.
Right. They represent the whole kingdom. They're all in. No half measures.
So what does that cost look like, the ambassadorship cost?
The text uses two really strong Old Testament examples to paint the picture. First, this standard of readiness.
Readiness.
Yeah, where the servants say, "Behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint." Just ready, immediately available.
Okay, so consecration means being instantly ready to deploy, basically.
Yeah, that's part of it. And the second example really hammers home this theme of cost.
This is the David one.
Yeah, David refusing to offer a sacrifice of that which doth cost me nothing.
Right.
The document uses this to stress that the effort, the offering, it has to involve real sacrifice, real cost.
So it can't be the equivalent of just giving away, like, spare change you found in the sofa or time you were going to waste anyway.
Exactly. It shouldn't be something you didn't value in the first place. It's a fundamentally different economic model than how we usually operate, isn't it?
Totally countercultural. Give what actually costs you something.
And if you tie this back, the Apostle Paul's example reinforces it. He said he wouldn't count his own life dear unto myself just so he could finish his mission with joy.
Wow.
So this entire concentration means holding nothing back, life, possessions, comfort when it comes to sharing the gospel.
So if we circle back to the laborers are few problem,
Right.
the source seems to say that problem gets fixed when people make this kind of costly, ready, total sacrifice of themselves and their resources.
That's the connection it's making. It's a resource problem solved by total personal commitment.
Okay, that definitely sets us up for the third and final pillar then. Earnest commitment.
Yep.
So if the command defines the mission and consecration provides the costly resources, earnest commitment must be about how it all gets done, like the deployment.
Exactly. The distribution phase, you could say.
Yep.
And the source insists this work has to be done earnestly.
Earnestly, not like grudgingly or out of obligation.
Right. Not ticking a box. It has to be a genuine expression of love for the Lord. Passionate.
Is there an example given for that?
Oh, yeah. The key one is from Mark's Gospel, the very end. And they went forth and preached everywhere, the Lord working with them.
And confirming the word with signs following? Yeah, I remember that.
So the document analyzes this, and it points out something crucial. The signs and wonders followed them.
After they went.
Yes, as they went forth into the actual fields, into evangelium. It suggests it was the passion, the obedience, the earnestness of their proactive action
That came first.
that preceded the divine confirmation, the signs. Action first, then confirmation.
Okay, so earnestness isn't just a feeling. It leads to action. But what does that look like organizationally, beyond just personal passion?
Well, the source lays out a really clear operational cycle using Acts 8.4 as the model.
Which is?
We gather together to be edified, and then we scatter abroad to evangelize. Gather, then scatter.
Gather to build up, scatter to spread out.
Exactly. And the source seems to demand that this tension balancing internal growth with external distribution has to be actively managed, maybe even resolved.
So earnestness translates into widespread intentional action. It means getting out of our, quote, comfort zones.
Right, reaching the multitudes. And if we connect it back to reaching those unreached nations,
Yeah.
well, that requires real organizational changes, doesn't it? Prioritizing budgets, allocating resources differently.
It has to be systemized somehow.
Seems like it. So that everyone who is called is actually fulfilling that commandment to go and tell other people.
Yeah.
It's an instruction for intentional, system-wide outreach.
Okay, let's try and pull the threads together. Looking at this whole blueprint, the command, go to all nations, be willing to be the answer yourself. Huge mission field.
Check.
Consecration. Supply that mission with resources that genuinely cost you something. A pure, total, personal sacrifice.
Got it.
And commitment.
Yeah.
Execute the mission with earnestness, with passion, everywhere. Shifting from just gathering for ourselves to scattering for evangelism.
That's a really clear summary of the three pillars. It's a very practical three-step guide for prioritizing this mandate today.
And the focus seems to be on practical steps, right? Not just inspirational talks, but actually making disciples, engaging with the world.
Definitely. Moving beyond just motivation talks, as the text puts it, to actual tangible results.
So we've tracked these escalating demands in the outline.
Yeah.
The urgency of acting while it's day, the need for this costly total consecration.
At the all-in sacrifice.
And then the requirement for this earnest, widespread, systematic commitment. Go everywhere.
And the author ties a massive promise to actually doing this, stating, if this happens today, meaning the gathering and then scattering, thousands and millions of souls will come to know the Lord. That kind of scale. The promised impact is directly linked to accepting the personal cost and making those organizational shifts we talked about.
Wow. Thousands and millions. That's a huge claim tied to this specific model.
It is. It sets the stakes very high.
Okay. So for your final provocative thought, building on everything we've just unpacked,
Right.
The source mandates this cycle. Gather to be edified, then scatter to evangelize, often to places that are costly and uncomfortable.
The difficult places.
So the question for you to think about is this. What specific institutional decision, maybe it's about budget priorities, maybe resource allocation, maybe just structural focus, what specific decision prevents the church, as it currently exists, from fully operating under this mandate, this gather and scatter model, with the kind of massive impact the text promises?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
What's the internal bottleneck, the structural friction point that stops this flow? That's something worth really mulling over long after this deep dive is done.
Yeah.